to be challenged or stumble or fall, right? The coefficient of adversity is, it's like a, I don't know if it's a mathematical equation, he doesn't ever present it, but it's that it's that relationship that we have to the things of the world such that they resist our will. What I would do usually in a class to demonstrate it, because our classrooms are full of those nice little desk chair combinations and they're all in nice rows, is that I would pick out some student across the room and just walk toward them. Right? Hi, how you doing? And then be blocked by this pile of desks, right? And I'd push against them. Get out of my way, right? You're impeding my freedom. Stuff in the world. That's that coefficient of adversity. That's what he's talking about there. In things, that is in stuff, but there's also a coefficient of adversity in others, and that's the relationship that we have to each other, right? That you're here limits my freedom. Right? So you're an element of adversity. Okay, here, certain distinctions ought to be made. Many of the facts set forth by the determinists do not actually deserve to enter into our considerations. In particular, the coefficient of adversity in things cannot be an argument against our freedom. For it is by us, that is, by the preliminary posting of an end, that this coefficient of adversity arises. Where's Preston? Giving him the answer. A particular crag, the crag appears a lot in this part of his writing. A particular crag, which manifests a profound resistance if I wish to displace it, will be, on the contrary, a valuable aid if I want to climb upon it in order to look over the countryside. In itself, if one can even imagine what the crag can be in itself, it is neutral. So here again, the universe is indifferent to us. Nature is indifferent to us. What it is in itself, what does it even mean to talk like that? Here's this mound of rock. Is it adverse or is it beneficial? In itself. Well, what the hell does that even mean? In itself, it's neither adverse nor beneficial. It simply is. It's neutral. It becomes adverse or beneficial in relation to our ends, in relation to our purpose, in relation to what I'm trying to achieve. If I want to get to the other side, then it becomes an element of adversity. It blocks my way, it forces me around this way, or it causes me to climb up over it. These are all hardships presented to me by its presence in relation to what I am trying to accomplish. But if what I want to do is survey the countryside, if I want to see, what the landscape looks like, or how far away the town is, or whatever it is, I can climb up on it and have the vantage point of height that I wouldn't have without it. Now it becomes beneficial. Now it allows me to achieve some end that I wouldn't have been able to in its absence. It becomes one or the other by my exercise of freedom. It is not an impediment to my freedom. It's an opportunity to assert my freedom in the world. Again, it can manifest itself in one or the other way only within an instrumental complex which is already established. Without picks and piolets, paths already worn, and a technique of climbing, the crag would be neither easy nor difficult to climb. The question would not be posited. It would not support any relation of any kind with the technique of mountain climbing. Thus, although brute things, that is, stuff, existing stuff, can from the start limit our freedom of action, It is our freedom itself which must first constitute the framework, the technique, and the ends in relation to which they will manifest themselves as limits. It is by our very freedom to identify ends and purposes which we wish to achieve, which we will to be the case, that anything becomes either a hindrance or a benefit. So if we go back to the beginning of that, where common sense was telling us that we're not free, class, nation, family, power, fortune, even my desires, my health, the society in which I live, these are neither hindrances nor benefits except in the context of my very exercise of freedom. Does that make sense? There you go. That's why determinism is false. Shall I reread that first part? You left just as I was getting to the juicy
My
stuff.
bladder was really not having it. I'm sorry.
I think
Well-
deterministic.
Yeah, I was fated to go over there. Fatalistic, deterministic.
Let me allow you to reinterpret your experience. In particular, the coefficient of adversity in things cannot be an argument against our freedom, for it is by us, that is, by the preliminary positing of an end, that this coefficient of adversity arises. Your bladder makes you free. It's an opportunity to demonstrate your freedom. So, and he elaborates here a little bit on this. In addition, it is necessary to point out to common sense, that is to the determinists, or the defeatists, or the social Darwinists, that the formula to be free does not mean to obtain what one has wished, but rather by oneself to determine oneself to wish. In other words, success is not important to freedom. It's not important that you attain what you wish. What's important as a free being is to be in a position to wish it all, to be in a position to choose, to understand yourself as the kind of thing that can choose and does as you choose, whether you succeed or fail. You could fail to climb over that crag, in which case it has beaten you. Cruel world. No. That is yet another opportunity for you to assert your freedom, to find another path, or to go back and lose some weight and train, right? Build up that upper body strength, and then climb again. Right? It's to change yourself, to make of yourself one who can, to get a bigger bladder, or to drink less fluid. Right? I had one of my dissertation advisors, when there was a late afternoon colloquium or something, she would just stop drinking coffee at like noon. She's like, I'm not taking any fluid because I don't want to have to go and take a pee break and miss the good stuff. So she changes herself to match the conditions under which she will put herself. All of this is just another demonstration of our freedom. So when you come across determinists, just go, I knew you were going to say that. And then carry on. You're a determinist, of course you're going to say that nonsense.
I'm going to go tell McCormick to rewrite his book.
Yeah. Sure.
I was kidding.
Don't tell him I told you. No, do tell him I told you that.
Oh, I'm not starting a department fire.
Oh, no. We have many ongoing We have many ongoing. How about do we have a little more time? Are you guys?
We have like 25 minutes.
Okay. How about a little de Beauvoir?
I love her.
Do you?
She converted me to feminism a couple of years back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's my girl. Only the myth of a woman, though, that's it.
Well, she has some interesting other work, and one of the things I like is her ethics of ambiguity. And she's got this piece here. She talks about freedom in a very different way. She and Sartre disagree on this idea of freedom that Sartre presents when talking about the coefficient of adversity in things or in others. Right? In things, it's things as they are seemingly in the way and they cause us adversity, and it's others. The coefficient of adversity in others is the effect of the existence of others and their impingement on our freedom or the limitation of our freedom. And so that relationship is always one of conflict. Right? It's always one of conflict. It's not the coefficient of beneficence or benefit. It's the coefficient of adversity. So he's looking at our relationship to things in the world, to other existences, whether they are things or whether they are beings like us, in that relationship of conflict. And de Beauvoir is concerned about the implications of that. And let me just read you a little bit about what she says about freedom. As for us, whatever the case may be, we believe in freedom. Is it true that this belief must lead us to despair? Must we grant this curious paradox that from the moment a man recognizes himself as free, he is prohibited from wishing for anything? So here she's referring to her colleagues, Camus, Sartre, Merleau-Ponty, and some of her other existential colleagues. On the contrary, it appears to us that by turning toward this freedom, we are going to discover a principle of action whose range will be universal. The characteristic feature of all ethics is to consider human life as a game that can be won or lost, and to teach man the means of winning. And she's going to reject that. That's not what ethics is about. It's not about learning rules or about how to play a game or winning or losing. Every man is originally free in the sense that he spontaneously casts himself into the world. But if we consider this spontaneity in its facticity, that is, in the factual elements of its existence, it appears to us only as a pure contingency. Things could have been otherwise. I could have done this, I could have done that. When you see people choosing, making choices, doing what they do, we assume that they're doing what they're doing as though it could have been different, as though it could have been otherwise. They could have chosen to go left instead of right. They could have chosen to sit or to go. They could have chosen many other things in what they do. And so it seems as though freedom is just an expression of that contingency. Human spontaneity always projects itself towards something. But in order for this meaning to justify the transcendence which it discloses, it must itself be found, which it will never be if I do not choose to found it myself. Now I can evade this choice, this foundational choice, this choice to be free. And for her, it's a choice. She's drawing on Heidegger. For Heidegger, you can be free or you can be a they, a member of the they, someone who just responds to the demands and expectations and pressures and incentives and disincentives that are presented to you as a member of a society. And so you can go along and live your life as a they, as one of the they, one of the many, or you can live your life freely. It's a choice, Heidegger tells us. And de Beauvoir picks up on this. For Sartre, freedom is not a choice. You are free. You can ignore it. You can lie to yourself. You can live in bad faith. But you are free. And de Beauvoir takes a sort of a more nuanced approach, and she says, yes, freedom is always a potential. Freedom is an element of what it means to be the kind of being that we are, but it has to be chosen. It has to be chosen, and for this choice to have meaning, it has to be chosen with full understanding of the implications. One can choose not to will himself free in laziness, heedlessness, capriciousness, cowardice, impatience. One contests the meaning of